I'm probably the last person to come to this story, but I did notice it, obviously, at the front page of the paper. And I know you did a podcast with Niall on it already, but what happened with Armagh GAA Club and the holiday to Miami?
Yeah, so a lot has happened this week. That's why I think we need to come back to it, because myself and Niall were speaking earlier in the week and people were probably like screaming at the, at the phone going, you can't really tell us much. What's the point? But a lot has happened since then. So essentially when we were talking, the state of play was that we'd reported on Sunday in the Sunday World that a complaint was made by a person who was on a trip to Miami as part of the Armagh GAA holiday. So I don't know, I don't think you're a big GAA fan, but basically...
and I didn't realise you got a trip to Miami.
Yeah, really really nice. So other teams in the past, like obviously Dublin GAA have won the All-Ireland several times, and they've been to like Bali, they've been to the Dominican Republic. So you get really nice trips.
So and they don't get paid, do they, the players?
No, they don't get paid. So
this is a bit of a perk if they win, obviously.
Yeah, so basically the GAA in Croke Park donates some, so and then the rest of it is fundraising. So in the case of Armagh hadn't won in All-Ireland since 2002, so it was a massive deal. So as Stephen Moore was reporting for us, it looks like the trip cost about $3,000 per head.
Right.
And there was 100 people. So you have the players, then you have the people they bring, you have members of the Armagh County Board, you have the manager, background team, all of them going on the trip. And it is basically a reward.
Yeah.
And so you have around, we believe, $100,000 came from GAA in Croke Park, and then the rest was fundraising. So the clubs in Armagh would have been asked to donate. There would have been like buckets outside various events, and that's how they raised the money.
Right.
So it's all expenses paid, basically. So in the wake of them, this happened in November, in the wake of them returning from the trip, a complaint was made to the PSNI about an alleged serious incident on the holiday in Miami. And that's where our podcast was earlier in the week.
You were describing what happened as a serious incident, which doesn't tell us much. So
no, it doesn't tell us. Yeah, so it doesn't tell us much. And basically we were kind of talking about how the GAA had put up a complete wall of silence, that we had this story kind of was doing the rounds for a while. We had heard about it for a week and we were chasing it constantly. They were not answering texts, any kind of emails, phone calls, nothing. They completely shut down. So that's what we were talking about. And then the following day, there was like statement after statement. So essentially what happened was the next move in that case was on Wednesday, a statement which wasn't really expected, to be honest, came in from a solicitor in Northern Ireland on the behalf of a client, and he basically confirmed that his client, which was described as an Armagh man, had been interviewed by police. So I can read out the statement. So basically it was released by Patrick Higgins from Donnelly and Wall solicitors, and they said, my client voluntarily presented himself to the PSNI yesterday to be interviewed. He cooperated fully with the PSNI in the initial stages of the investigation. He is innocent of all charges and vows to do everything in his power to clear his name. So that was what came in. And then I'd say like an hour later, if not less than that, the PSNI released a statement, and you can notice a difference in tones of language. So the solicitor said interviewed, and the PSNI said that they had arrested a man on suspicion of sexual assault.
Okay. So that was the confirmation, or that was the sexual assault element of it, was the incident that was all you'd been able to refer to
exactly.
previous.
Yeah.
So it's a sexual assault, which I think probably people would have sort of imagined it was, given that it was a trip and a hotel and all the rest of it.
But it was the first time we could say this. Also, with even the statement from the solicitor, he just acknowledged that his client had presented himself and had been interviewed, didn't say the nature of it. So this is the first time detectives basically said they had arrested a 30-year-old man on suspicion of sexual assault and causing a person to engage in sexual activity without consent. So they arrested him on Tuesday, they confirmed, and then they said that he'd been released on bail pending further inquiries. Slightly different up in the north, where they release you, but they're still investigating. Whereas here it's described as released without charge.
So do you know anything about the incident? What happened, or?
So basically, we can't really say. We obviously have heard stuff, and there's a lot of speculation online. But essentially, it was a member of this 100-strong party. So as I said, there would have been the team of players, and then other people linked close to them had gone on the trip. That a person had come forward to the PSNI and had made a report to them, and then they were conducting inquiries, and then another member of that party had been arrested. And it's believed to have taken place place, obviously in Miami. And also yesterday, our colleagues in the Beltel got a statement from the Miami Beach Police Department. So to answer your question about what happened there, basically, acknowledging that we were inquiring about the incident because we'd been told that it took place in the Eden Rock Hotel, which is where the team were staying.
Miami police said this?
Yeah, so Miami police said...
So they were inquiring...
No, so they had received inquiries from us.
Oh, they had received inquiries for here.
Yeah.
So as far as you know, no complaint was made out there.
No, so they basically said that they conducted a thorough review of the limited information available. So obviously that's what was provided to them, in their inquiries. And they said their records do not indicate that any instance of sexual battery were reported at the Eden Rock Hotel during the period which was the week that the team were there. So essentially, in terms of to answer your question, we know that there's a sexual assault allegation from Miami from a member of the party, and that they were staying in the Eden Rock Hotel.
So it would have been, they were obviously concerned that it was hugely damaging, and probably the GAA were in a position that really until something happened with it, they wouldn't have necessarily had anything to do with knowing there was a complaint made to the PSNI. They would have had to sit back and wait maybe until there was an arrest or something occurred.
Yeah, I suppose that you could say that, but I guess the questions you can ask as well is, the GAA is a voluntary organisation. It's essentially represents members of the public. A lot of the funding that goes into it is from members of the public, and this is a publicly funded trip. So of course it's sensitive nature, and nobody wants to be seen to speculating or to be making the situation worse, because there's people at the centre of this. There's an alleged victim at the centre of this. So that is one way of looking at it. But then you can also think, did they need to be? Could they not have put out a statement acknowledging, we were doing our due diligence. We were, it's a story in the public interest, and they could have just said.
And presumably, come to think of it, if an incident is alleged that happens within that structured, holiday, they would probably, as a sporting organisation anyway, have to investigate it separately themselves.
They have, of course they have. And this is the thing, so the Ulster Council, which monitors provincial, like the Ulster GAA in that province, they were believed to have been investigating. That's what we heard in our inquiries, but that wasn't confirmed. Armagh GAA completely shut down, and nobody even put out a statement saying, "Listen, we can't comment on this." It was just complete say nothing, and I suppose that's what's created a bit of frustration among people, just because people were saying, "We just want to know that this is being handled properly, that there's an investigation. These are serious allegations here." So it was just kind of to, I suppose, for us to have an idea that, are they conducting their internal inquiry or what's going on there? Because, of course, as you said, they have to. And now I have to say that they did come forward with a statement then yesterday. So they said that it's they're responding to serious allegations, and the spokesperson said, "We can confirm Armagh GAA is continuing to respond to this matter in collaboration with Ulster GAA, the GAA at central level, and the PSNI." And then they added, "Out of respect for those involved and ongoing police inquiries, we're unable to comment any further at this time." So they have since put out a statement, but this was over a week and a half,
Yeah.
So it raises questions. Of course, they're going to say, "Listen, this is a serious investigation. We are waiting for the PSNI to respond,
make their inquiries or whatever."
But,
So, look, this is big news down this end of the country.
It is.
As well as the north.
Everywhere.
Which is the nature of the GAA, its power, its sort of footprint across Irish society, across the borders.
Yeah, well, it crosses that over, because sometimes, people's consumption of news can be quite local, and we see that online. People mightn't be interested in a story if they see it's in Northern Ireland or vice versa. But the GAA is just kind of transcends all that, because it has such a big following. And while Armagh is in the north of Ireland, it's part of the team where getting the holiday on the basis of our national, the competition that takes place. And the final was in Croke Park and all that. So so it completely transcends all that, and it's just hugely, I suppose shocking that it's kind of came from such a good thing as well. And they'd been so long waiting for an Armagh title, and
21 years.
And now it's been marred in controversy. So that's obviously not good for them either. But it's been a massive talking point, and obviously it's
Massive interest in it as
it's
well.
massive interest, but at least we know now that there is an inquiry ongoing, a police inquiry, and then the GAA are obviously looking at it themselves as well.
All right, Eimear, thank you very much.
Thanks, Nicola.